pledge, please. Dolly, could you please call the roll?
Deputy Supervisor Cataldi.
Present.
Councilman Cahill.
Here.
Councilwoman Wynn.
Here.
Councilwoman Wright.
Here.
Town Attorney Tedeschi.
Present.
The first item on the agenda is open to the floor, and I have one speaker who has signed up to speak, Ahmed Mustafa, to Misty Trail. Ahmed?
Well, good evening. It's been a long time since I've been here.
Yes, and yes.
So, good evening, members of the town board. I'm sure you all know me, but for those who don't, my name is Ahmed Mustafa, and I'm the president of Northeast Quadrant Advanced Life Support, or NAQ. Tonight, I may be making what might be the briefest comments I've ever made to this town board. In 45 days, NAQ will be forced to stop operating Webster EMS. Not because we want to, but because a current financial model does not provide adequate income to operate an EMS agency relying solely on third-party billing revenue. I won't waste time tonight going over the whys of this, as you all know. I am here actually tonight to ask you to please remember the cooperation and collaboration that existed between NAQ and this board 9 years ago when we first started discussing opening an ambulance service together. I'm asking you to remember all the times I stood before you and gave reports on our performance and activities, asking at the end if there was anything we could do differently or better, and being told repeatedly we were doing a great job. Please remember the difficult times we suffered through together when we fought to get Webster EMS up and running. These were not done by NAQ or the town alone. These were done together. Remember how much we celebrated together when we were awarded our permanent CON. Charlie, that was a car ride I'll never forget. We have been through too much together to let whatever has recently come between us destroy something that has taken so long to build and that has become a source of pride for our community. NAQ promised we'd open and operate an ambulance service that this town will be proud of. I believe we've done that. We built a wonderful base that this community uses frequently for support groups, training. Even the town uses our meeting rooms because they are awesome. The idea that something we have worked together so hard to build could go away in 45 days breaks my heart. This town has benefited greatly from the community-focused EMS we've created together. I'm here tonight to ask you, please put whatever differences we have aside, and let's find a way together, the town board and the NAQ board, to preserve this wonderful organization we've created. Let's put the past behind us and look to the future, one where NAQ is once again working hand in hand with this board to give the community something not only needs, but I believe it deserves. We have 45 days to sit together and come to a solution. Let's not allow Webster EMS, and most likely NAQLS, to go away because we cannot find a workable solution together. We are better than that. Thank you for giving me a few minutes this evening. The NAQ board and I look forward to speaking with you as soon as possible to sustain our partnership to ensure EMS in Webster is provided by Webster-based community-focused agency. Thank you.
Thank you, Ahmed. Ahmed was the only one who had signed up to speak. Did we get everybody who has something to say tonight? There's not too many people in the audience, but anyone else? No? Thank you. We'll move on. We have minutes to be considered for approval. First of all, Dolly, I want to commend you on the meticulous job you did in keeping the minutes of that meeting. It was a very long public hearing, and I think that you might have been a court stenographer in your previous life. You did a great job. I would move that we approve the minutes of February 1st, 2024 as submitted by the town clerk.
Second. Deputy Supervisor Cataldi.
Aye.
Councilwoman Wright.
Aye.
Councilman Cahill.
Aye.
Councilwoman Wynn.
Aye. And Councilwoman Wright, I believe you did the bills this week.
I did, and I would move to approve the bills as submitted by the Director of Finance. I went through everything. It was well done, as always.
Second.
Councilwoman Wright?
Aye.
Councilwoman Wynn?
Aye.
Councilman Cahill?
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Pettaway?
Aye. I would move that we approve the prepaid warrants as submitted by the Director of Finance.
A second.
Deputy Supervisor Cataldi?
Aye.
Councilwoman Wright?
Aye.
Councilwoman Wynn?
Aye.
Councilman Cahill?
Aye.
And I would move that we approve the purchase orders as submitted by the Director of Finance.
Second.
Deputy Supervisor Cataldi?
Aye.
Councilman Cahill?
Aye.
Councilwoman Wynn? Councilwoman Wright?
Aye.
Next, we have a resolution to execute a contract for laboratory services from the ALS Group USA Corp. in the amount of $12,932. Rick Keneally is here from the Sewer Department. Do you want to explain a little bit about this?
Sure. I just want to talk about, this has gone up, we were kind of shocked when we went out to bid for this. The contract is coming up this year. And reached out to local lab supply facilities, and current contract was $8,000, this went up to $12,000, jumped up $4,000, kind of shocked us, but we've been with this company for quite a while and we haven't raised it. So when we reached out to other companies, there's only two really locally, others a little far to travel. One from Syracuse used to come out, this area doesn't come out anymore, so we got only two quotes. The other one was $21,000.
Talk about the shock, right?
So we were $9,000 cheaper than that one. Even though it went up, we're still, I guess, doing pretty well. One other tidbit on this that we're going to be looking forward to down the road is we're doing a one-year contract with 2 option years, but we're going to look to do our ammonias in-house now. So we're already doing some economic value on that, which could probably save us about $8,000 a year once we get ULAC approved and stuff on that. So we're looking into doing that since that's the big chunk of this project, because they have to pick up twice a week for our ammonias.
Wow.
So it'll be a huge savings for us if we continue further, and I think that's the direction we're going. So that's pretty much that in a nutshell.
Great, and all of this testing is obviously required.
Required for our permit.
Yes. Okay, thank you. And you did say that we need this signed sooner than later.
Yeah.
And I am able to do that, but I don't want to make this motion, so
So I would move that we authorize the deputy town supervisor to execute a contract for laboratory services from ALS Group USA Corp. in the amount of $12,932.
A second.
Councilman Cahill?
Aye.
Councilwoman Wright?
Aye.
Councilwoman Wynn?
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Cataldi?
Aye. In keeping with the sewer department, our next agenda is to solicit bids for the town of Webster sanitary sewer improvement. This is something that we heard about last week. Mike Ritchie gave a wonderful presentation about the pipe that is being put in. Art, do you have anything to add to that? Do you want to summarize for those who didn't see the presentation last week?
Absolutely. So the project limits include 12,500 linear feet of pipe that we're going to replace and upgrade. Along with that, 35 manholes. To get to that point in that determination, there was 2 months of flow testing at 3 to 4 different locations to determine what actually needed to be done. So it's a pretty comprehensive evaluation. The cost estimate is good, but we'll find out when we open the bids.
See if that actually holds. Yes.
Absolutely, and the sooner we can get this out, we'll be in a better position with the contractors already lining up work for the spring and summer. But actually, I reached out to a couple of larger ones, and they're looking forward to it. Actually, got a text a little while ago as to when it's going to be.
Great, thank you. So I would move that we solicit bids for the town of Webster sanitary sewer improvement, Phillips Road to Tibor Road, and advertise in the Webster Herald on February 21st, 2024, with bids to be received and opened on Thursday, March 14th.
Deputy Supervisor Cataldi?
Aye.
Councilwoman Wynn? Aye. Councilwoman Wright?
Aye.
Councilman Cahill?
Aye.
Our next item is to schedule a public hearing for a local law and revise the Town Code Chapter 146 drainage control to include commercial properties and to be published in the February 28th Webster Herald. Again, this is something that we've discussed and we had a presentation. about a townwide drainage district that now would include commercial properties, something that it has not up till now. I know that I did comment at that meeting that I'm somewhat embarrassed that I've been on this board this long and it hasn't been taken care of yet. So I, for one, think it's way overdue. And I would move to schedule a public hearing for March 7th, 2024 to consider a local law and to revise the Webster Town Code Chapter 146 drainage control to include commercial properties and to be published in the February 28th, 2024 Webster Herald edition.
Second.
Deputy Supervisor Cataldi?
Aye.
Councilman Cahill?
Aye.
Councilwoman Wynn?
Aye.
Councilwoman Wright?
Aye.
And keeping with the theme, we also had a presentation last week from Campus Construction Management and discussed their part in 2 months of the early phases of the Fairlife planning process and them being the central location, if you will, and the leader of all of the people who needed to be involved, whether it be our department heads or those who were involved on the Fairlife side. So we talked about the possibility of them continuing that service for us. We all received quite a bit of documentation on the work that was done in those 2 months. And I think we all thought this was a good idea. Does anybody else have any comments before I
No,
make
the
this
only
motion?
comment I have, actually a couple of them, is number one, that they did an outstanding job with the seeker when they were first here, and being in the construction business, the only other comment I would make is that Campus Construction has a phenomenal reputation in the construction business. So I look forward to them coming on board to assist us with Coca-Cola Fairlife.
I have nothing to add. I agree with the presentation was great, and I agree with what John said.
Ginny?
Same with you.
You're good? Okay. This one I can make because the supervisor is going to sign it. So I would make a motion to authorize a contract with the town supervisor to sign a professional services agreement with Campus Construction Management, Inc. to provide project coordinator services for the Coca-Cola Fairlife project for the town of Webster.
I'll second that.
Deputy Supervisor Cataldi?
Aye.
Councilwoman Wright?
Aye.
Councilwoman Wynn?
Aye.
Councilman Cahill?
Aye.
And next we have a presentation by Brayton Connor, our head of human resources, about a resolution on some professional search firms. Take it away, Brayton.
Yes, and presentation is probably too big a word, but it'll be a report.
Okay.
And then a discussion of why the town supervisor and I are requesting this resolution. So as the board's aware, our town engineer relocated out of town last summer. Since that time, we've been actively recruiting for a replacement. We posted on the town website and sent to our distribution email list. We use the town's social media channels, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, or X, I believe as it's called now. And we did free postings on Indeed and LinkedIn. When those didn't give us a robust candidate field, we went to civil service and requested that they broaden the qualifying degrees so that we would have we wouldn't have good candidates inadvertently screened out on a technicality. They agreed to that. We reposted with the broadened qualifications. We did get some candidates, and 2 rounds of interviews were held, but because of the importance of this position, the hiring committee really wanted to get somebody that we thought would be fantastic to join the team, and the candidates, while they were more than qualified, we didn't think they were the right fit. So we continued recruitment. We've used paid postings on Indeed and LinkedIn, and we've been working through word of mouth through the engineering community. Several people doing that. We're posted up on the Association of Towns. And so as we've gone forward and we don't have the robust candidate pool that we would like, we said, what are our other options? And so one of those options is to hire a recruiting firm. And so I was tasked with researching what was out there. I made contact with approximately 8 firms. 5 of them responded to me, had good conversations with them, and I'm recommending 3. And so the thing to know about recruitment firms are you can hire them under 2 models. One is the retained model, where you work exclusively with one firm and you pay them up front, regardless of whether you get a good candidate or not. The other is the contingent model, where you engage with them. You can engage with multiple recruiters at the same time, and you only pay if you hire one of their candidates. And so, being that this is the first time that we've used a recruiter, we thought that the contingent model would give us a broader group of recruiters to work for. Since we haven't worked with any of these recruiters before, while they're all reputable, we don't have any personal experience with them. So that's why we decided to go with that route. We will still continue our traditional recruitment methods, and if we bring a candidate in through our traditional recruitment methods, we won't have to pay the recruiting firm. It's only if the candidate comes in through the recruiting firm. And so, ballpark, the contingency fees are about 25% of the first year's salary. The budget contains adequate money in the engineering, town engineer salary line for that because of the vacancy. And so it won't negatively impact the budget. Overall, given the other vacancies that we have and the so the savings on vacancy savings on salary and vacancy savings on benefits and costs, we have adequate funding as well for the current term contract that is performing the PE portion of the town engineer work. We have that, but the sooner we get a town engineer, the better we'll be financially, because the burn rate on an outside contractor is higher than the salary and benefit rate for an employee. And the town management thinks that having a on-staff employee who's the town engineer is a superior model to using an outsourced contractor. Most towns in this area use outsourced contractors. I mean, maybe it's 60-40, so it's not uncommon. And I think part of the reason they do that is because finding a PE who's interested in municipal work, it's a small recruitment pool. And so I think that's one of the difficulties that we're seeing, and that's why some towns go full outside contractor. And we don't want to do that. We prefer not to pay a recruiter, but we know that we have to continue to try different things and be resourceful in order to bring us the talent that we need. So the 3 firms that we're recommending are Goodwin Recruiting, Davron, and Exec Recruiting. Goodwin and Davron are national firms that specialize in engineers are one of their occupational specialties. And Exec Recruiters is a local firm. Engineering is not necessarily their specialty, but they are a local firm. And we wanted to have a mix of local and specialized recruiting firms. And the national recruiting firms, their business model, as well as our desire, is for them to find us local candidates. We don't have a budget and don't want to be in the business of paying relocation fees. So they know that, and they say that that's typical in most of their engagements. So with that, I'm available for questions that you may have.
That was such a thorough report that every time a question popped into my head and I made a quick note, you answered it in the next sentence or 2. So I don't have any additional questions. And also, we did all receive this information at least 5 days ago from you. So we had a chance to see it and ask questions then. Mm-hmm. Does anybody else have anything they want to ask of Brighton?
I'll just repeat the question I asked you when I spoke to you on the phone.
Yeah.
So our budget for the engineering is what for 2024?
It's probably a question for Paul.
No, I prepared for this question. So when, I'll answer it this way, and then if I didn't get it right, you tell me.
Sure.
So when we look at the salaries for our, for the engineering department, and we add on the benefits rate, it's about, the employment cost is about $372,000. And if you look at the first quarter of that, which all those positions are vacant, so the first quarter of this year, we're not paying those benefits and salaries, so that's a savings of about $93,000. If we end up hiring and have to pay the recruiting fee, that'll be about $25,000. And our quarterly burn rate on the town engineer consulting contract is about $50,000 a quarter. So 93,000 minus 75,000, we're still at 18,000 to the good. But
That's taking what, 3 positions that are currently vacant. But if we just looked at the engineer that we're looking to hire, it's not going to be that same savings, right?
Right. If we looked solely at the town engineer, that quarterly cost is about $37,000. The engineering salary itself is enough for the contingency recruitment contract, but not enough for the outside engineering contract.
Right. You said the burn rate for the professional engineers that we outsourced is $50,000 a quarter.
Yes. So that fact is one of the reasons why it's good to have a
Right.
employee as a town engineer versus
I
outside
agree 100%.
consulting contract.
Right.
And also, it supports why, even though we don't want to be in the business of hiring a recruiter and having to pay that fee, the sooner we get somebody, the sooner we can reduce that burn rate on the outside contracting rate. So,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
that's what we're up against.
I don't think that, I'm not sure if any of the board members were aware that the burn rate was $50,000 a quarter for the engineer. I didn't until you just told me.
I was aware of that.
Yeah, it wasn't.
And they're doing a wonderful job for us, and they're really handling a lot of things because now more than ever we need that engineering expertise, but it's expensive.
I just appreciate you taking the extra effort in posting in the Association of Towns. I'm trying to be a little creative there. I guess I didn't realize how long and exhaustive this has really been. So, it certainly makes sense why it's come to this.
You're welcome, and I did also, I'm doing an enhanced recruiter status on LinkedIn at your suggestion as well. So, we've got a lot of eyes on this, and but we have no monopoly on good ideas, so I appreciate the feedback as well.
Well, and to your credit also, that, you've interviewed multiple candidates who were more than qualified, but didn't feel it was a good fit. And it's very, very important, to hire slowly and then fire quickly. But I appreciate the diligence you put into it. So, and it's, you can interview very, very qualified people, but if you don't feel it's going to be a good fit for your environment, whatever company you're in, it's best to keep looking. So I commend you on that also.
And to hire somebody, you could do a disservice to them as well.
Right.
Because they'll be making a change in their career. If it doesn't work out, obviously we're looking at it from our stance as the employer, and we're not happy about that. But for the candidate, that's really disruptive to them as well.
Yeah.
And I think it's certainly our desire to go with the first part of the hire slowly so that we don't have to fire
Right.
quickly.
I think we learned our lesson in that one.
Yes. Jenny, did you have anything to add?
No, I just say good luck.
Good luck for all of us.
Yeah.
I would move that we authorize the town supervisor to sign contingency contracts with 3 professional firms. I don't have those firms in the oh, it's right here. With Goodwin Recruiting, Davron, and Exec Recruiters.
Second.
Deputy Supervisor Cataldi?
Aye.
Councilman Cahill?
Aye.
Councilwoman Wynn?
Aye.
Councilwoman Wright?
Aye.
Councilwoman Wright, do you want to take the next one?
I will. There's some recycling, so I move to approve the following items for recycling from the Parks and Recreation Department. There are 5 TVs and a reception desk. And I move to have those recycled.
Second.
Councilwoman Wright?
Aye.
Councilman Cahill?
Aye.
Councilwoman Wynn?
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Cataldi?
Aye. And I would move that we approve the following item for recycling from the sewer department, an area velocity meter with no tag.
Deputy Supervisor Cataldi?
Aye.
Councilwoman Wynn? Aye. Councilman Cahill?
Aye.
Councilwoman Wright?
Aye.
It is 7:58, and we've reached the end of the agenda. In all fairness, the supervisors' meetings often go longer, but,
You're setting a record again.
well, no. I was going to
what?
say, he actually makes it quite easy on me because he gives me fairly easy agendas. So
Oh, come on.
you really should thank him for that. Let's go around and see if anyone has any news that they'd like to share. I will start down at the end of that table with the sewer department.
Just like to say, I'll speak for the guys that work in our, we're excited about the progress that's happening at the plant. Dirt moving, we got buildings coming up from the ground, and I think one thing I noticed is prior, as most of you know, is our break rooms were all over the place. We had guys not together. We're thrown into a trailer now, but I've seen the camaraderie already start. Everybody's talking. That usually was isolated. And when we get the new building with the new break room, I think that it just even grow more. So it's been a great already experience in the process, but we're all excited with the potential upgrades and what it's going to bring to the facility.
I was in the trailer for the Christmas lunch. It's quite cozy. Art, you have nothing to add?
I can't top that.
Okay, before we move on from
Mark
that,
that down as the first, I think.
That's right.
Before we move on from that, I want to congratulate Rick Keneally because I believe he received an award at the WIA conference this past weekend. Art, would you like to tell us a little more about the award? Because I know he's very
So Rick
Shy.
actually received 2 awards at the NIWA conference in New York City this past week. Rick received the 25-year award.
Just meant that around the
Well, that's right. It's 30-year-old. And he also did receive the Public Outreach Award. And maybe you can talk briefly about that one. Reaching out to the public. He does a
well,
great
you've
job.
written many articles for publication. Yes.
And the tours and the
Mhm.
presentations for the schools and stuff like that. So it's nice to be honored for it.
Well, congratulations.
Rick also did a presentation at the NIWA conference on our plant and process that we've gone through and where we're going with it.
Wonderful. Spread the word. That's great.
Very
Paul?
good. Today I actually finished up reconciling the town's capital projects. There were, believe it or not, 22 active projects during the year, 4 of which are now closed, so we currently have 18. It seems like a lot, but many of those involve grants. I would say there's probably almost a dozen grants involved in these projects, and that can take quite a while to collect the funds from the state. They're kind of slow pay on some of these grants, so you have to keep the project open until the monies come in. But everything looked good. Each one's self-sufficient and accounted for separately, and it can be a challenge to get it right, and we're kind of squared away for the year.
Thank you for your work on that. Councilwoman Wright?
I had the opportunity to spend some time with the Parks and Recreation staff and joined one of their department meetings, and it was wonderful to meet everybody. and hear all of the great things that are planned in the first half of the year. There's a lot of things coming, great programming for youth, seniors, the entire community. There's some interesting themed things that they plan to do around the eclipse. So keep an eye out on Webster Today, on the town website for some of the cool things that are coming up soon for the Parks and Recreation Department.
Thank you. Councilwoman Witt?
Oh.
You went for last?
Yeah. Well, anyway, again, I'm privileged to have opportunity to celebrate 2 New Year. Last week, we celebrate our Lunar New Year, and here's the dragon. So I wish everyone health and prosperity. And also, too, like Jan says, we need to support our community, and I'm honored to represent as a liaison for the museum and the library. We got a lot of events coming up. Simply check the website and bring your family coming out. There are tons of events that you can participate, you know, for adults, children. It's a family affair, and to bring to support your Webster Library and also the Webster Museum. Thanks everyone, and have a good night.
Thank you. Councilman Cahill?
So earlier in the week, I had an opportunity to stop out at the highway garage, and I met with, I believe his name is Glenn from Campus Construction, and they're making some amazing progress there, and under their leadership of Campus Construction, they're actually ahead of schedule. So I'm looking forward to the same performance with Coke. So the other thing I have is, and this has been weighing pretty heavily on me since some rather negative and disparaging comments were made about Mr. Tony Kashani. I know Tony for approximately 11 years now, and I've been to his house a number of times, and he's probably one of the most honorable gentlemen I have ever met in my life, and to hear these comments really bothered me. And what I want the people, the residents of Webster to know is that Tony Kashani has served this town on our planning board for decades, and many, many of those years as the chair of the planning board. So I'm going to take this opportunity to thank Tony for his service to this community. That's all I have.
Thank you, John. Attorney Genesi, do you have anything to add?
I do, but it's rather sad news. I want to note the passing of a former town board member, also
Oh, dear.
former planning board chair and former zoning board chair of this town, Bill Randy. And also he's a good friend of mine, but that aside, he was a great public servant.
He certainly was. He gave years to this town.
Yeah, his wife also had been on the town board, I believe in the early 90s. But when I first sat on the zoning board back 1990, he was the chair at that time, and was on the zoning board. I don't know how many years before that, and eventually came to this board, and then again went to the planning board, where he not only served but served as chair for a number of years. But he was a great guy. He was a terrific worker in terms of, he was a custom builder, remodeler. He did fantastic work. Anybody that had to use him or use his services, but he was a very good man, and as I say, a great public servant, to this town. And anyway, our prayers and condolences to his family. Sorry.
Thank you for sharing that sad news. Bill was a gentleman, and he was one of those people, when you say one of the good guys, his face came to mind. So certainly I want to extend my personal sympathies and prayers to his family. That's a very sad loss for the town. Well, Dolly, thank you. With that, I would make a motion that we close the meeting of February 15th, 2024.
Second.